Bada bing, bada boom. New YouTube video. What's good? What's good? You know what I'm saying? I gotta get better at, these transitions into these intros. But yeah, copy and paste rappers 2.0 type shit. I watched the first video off stream and stuff like that. They brought up rappers like Action Bronson, Ghostface Killer, Young Thug, and Designer and stuff like that. So, and plus Corday was on the thumbnail. I wonder what copy and paste rapper is he, if they even bring him up. But yeah, let's get into it.
This video is brought to you by Morgan &
What's up, guys?
Stay tuned to find out more.
Yeah, so it's always going to be something new. When a person decides to be themselves, they offer something no one else can be.
Yeah, because once you be you, who could be you but you? That's what's wrong right now. Everybody trying to rap the same style with the, I don't know who created it, if it was Future or Migos, but all them sound the same.
Generally speaking, they say that imitation is the most sincere form of flattery. When you're recognized as so much of an influence that others will then try to inject a little of that into themselves, the belief is that it should really be seen as a compliment. But in a highly competitive industry such as hip-hop, where every last shred of your individuality is paramount to your success, the notion of someone else stealing your style, cadence, flow,
and also though, like, after a while, the thing with Action Bronson, y'all niggas probably don't even know who the fuck that is. Yo, trust me, I don't listen to his music neither, but he come out of New York though. But it's like, this is the thing. At first, when they brought up the comparisons and stuff like that, he was fine with it. But then after a while, if you're a rapper, or not even just a rapper, let's say you're a streamer or even a YouTuber and stuff like that, and like you coming up and excessively people keep saying, oh, you sound like this nigga, or you act like this person excessively. Obviously, at first, okay, you might take it as a compliment because you might look up to that person that they talking about. But then over and over and over and over and over, they like literally anytime someone brings up your name, it's only just to compare you to this specific person. Yeah, after a while, you would just be like, bro, fuck that guy. That's how I'm on it now. Like, literally, fuck him. Like, every time, bro, fuck him. You know what I'm saying? Like, weird-ass comparison, but when niggas kept on bringing up Corey and I'm Dante's chat and stuff like that, and then after a while, Dante was just like, bro, fuck Corey. Like, what the hell? Like, bro, fuck that nigga. Like, bro, I don't care. Like, I didn't ask. You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously, he has nothing against Corey, but it's the fans. Yo, spacebar. Jesus.
Paramount to your success, the notion of someone else stealing your style, cadence, flow, or concepts can be seen as one of the greatest crimes a rapper can commit. With high-profile examples of hip-hop sound-alikes including Action Bronson and Ghostface Killer, Lil Man Jay and Lil Baby, and to a much lesser extent,
this nigga, he only sounded like Lil Baby on one song. That was it, in my opinion. I feel like he only sounded like Lil Baby in one song, or a certain verse, it sounded similar to Baby's.
Is he Drake and Perkio? When exactly do these extreme similarities cross the line from crazy coincidence?
This was just crazy. This was corny, cringy as fuck every time I saw it. Like, bro, this Perkio nigga never looked comfortable on camera at all. He always looked like there was like 5 guns pointed to his head at all times every time he stepped in front of a fucking camera. Like, this boy never looked comfortable. This nigga right here was just sad. He went out fucking sad, bro.
To copy-paste music.
Like, damn.
When it comes to recent
copy a nigga all the way up to the point where he sue your ass.
Breakout stars in hip-hop, very few have experienced the kind of success as Kentucky's own Jack Harlow. Likeable, vocally engaging, and by no means short on admirers, his rise has seen him emerge as the toast of the commercial realm that's been occupied by Drake for much of the last decade. Coming across in a similar degree of marketability and female-heavy fanbase, some believe that it's actually due to a concerted effort on Jack's part to dip into Drake's formula across his bars, rhyme schemes, and presentation. Although it's now garnered so much steam that the Fader published an article on the Drakeification of Jack, the notion of Harlow borrowing heavily from Drizzy's playbook is actually nothing new. In the words of Anthony Fantano, he actually wrote off much of his early work as derivative Drake drivel, but has since acknowledged that he has found his own voice to a certain degree. And although these comparisons have been bubbling around Jack before, they were officially drilled home once and for all when he teamed up with him on Churchill Downs. Among the highlights from his sophomore album, Come Home, The Kids Miss You, the pair
niggas was saying on Churchill, whatever this song was called, they said Jack slept on that shit. But obviously, if you're on a song with Drake, it's just like, you know what I mean? But if the comparisons are so uncanny and y'all finally get on a song together, it's like, bro, you know what I'm saying? People said that he flopped on his part.
Trading bars over a late night oriented number led many to see the comparisons come into sharp focus for the first time. And while some claimed that he held his own while emulating his hero, others believe that to suggest that he was holding his own alongside Drake, who said that Jack was going places in his verse, would be to overstate Harlow's talent.
This guy is nowhere near as nuanced and as layered as Drake was. None of the lines that Drake can normally spit in his earlier work, that comparison is just downright disrespectful. It's apparent when we hear a track like Churchill Downs, where even after adding a couple of additional bars to his verse, the gap between him and Drake is so big that you need the Hubble Space Telescope to cover the distance.
For now, it remains to be seen whether Jack will live up to his idol's success. Now at this point, we've come to the numerous artists who've
Honestly, though, I feel like it's a little early in his of the blow up stage of his career to really decide that and stuff like that. I feel like he's been doing pretty good so far, and honestly, I feel like niggas is just hating on him because he's actually doing good though. You know what I'm saying? When a new nigga come out and stuff like that, and he's literally just fucking everybody up, and he taking all the good bitches. You know what I'm saying? He taking all the female fans and stuff like that. They comparing you to Drake, you literally the top of the top of the generation and stuff like that. He gonna be hated on. People gonna be coming for his neck. People gonna say, nah, you can't live up to your hype. You can't live up to these expectations that these niggas set up for you. You know what I'm saying? It's just it be like that.
Path of one of the
It be like that. I feel like it's really hate. Personally, I feel like majority of it's hate though. I'm not saying Jack Harlow, he is the next Drake. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying that. Damn, just look how dark my camera got. Anyways, I'm not saying that at all, but I feel like majority of that criticism is backed behind hate or jealousy type shit. Cause it's look at Jack Harlow. He literally just popped up out of nowhere, even though he was grinding underground for a very long ass time, and then he finally blew up. But it's just he comes out unlike to other people. He comes out of nowhere. He's he has hits after hits after hits. All the females are just drooling for him and stuff like that. And now he's being compared to Drake. He's the next Drake. Come on. Bro, and mind you, when Drake was blowing up and stuff like that, niggas was hating on him too, talking about this light-skinned nigga, thinking that he a thug, thinking that he could really rep the streets and stuff like that. Bro, you from Toronto. This and that and the third. I feel like it's the same. It's kind of, the parallels are uncanny. I'm just saying.
Pick up the mic.
They're
and Eminem,
uncanny,
an artist
bro.
who had an indivisible role in bringing the sound of hip-hop to the mainstream and acting as a previously non-existent...
But, was he just trying... but was Jack Harlow the first example of his copy and paste? I'm just saying. Because I wouldn't say he's that much of a Drake comparison. I don't think he's a copy and paste Drake. That's crazy.
Middle ground between white suburbia and the culture at large, many artists ranging from Hopsin to J. Cole and his eventual nemesis of MGK have taken cues from Detroit's finest. However, one thing that's sprung up over the past decade or so, in which M's own stock among hip-hop has come under fire like never before, is that rather than adopting the elements of vintage M which made him great, such as his fearlessness or knack for gripping, confessional storytelling and
facts. Niggas, they say that Eminem style did get kind of stale after a while. Bro, this nigga M could rap his ass off, obviously. He could put so many bars and metaphors and songs that so many words that rap together and stuff like that. But niggas is saying, after a while, just because you could rhyme a bunch of words together don't mean that you really fucking shit up. To be honest, just because you're just because you're rapping really fast and you know what I'm saying? Just because you're rapping really motherfucking fast that half the time niggas can't even understand what the fuck you're saying, and just because you're rhyming a whole bunch of words together does not mean that you bro, it's it don't mean that you still Prom M, bro. Prom M was out here coming for niggas' throats and what? And sleeping like a baby at night. This nigga will come on on a normal Tuesday and just diss the fuck out of everybody and then just go about his day. I'm just saying.
making them their own, there's now a subset of shady indebted artists who seem intent on just bodying his modern rapidy rap style and suburban appeal. Among the main culprits who've come to fit into an M-shaped mold for a new generation is NF, modeled after shady.
And it's crazy, I haven't heard about this nigga in a minute, NF, and Dante used to fuck with this nigga crazy. Now it seems like Dante fucks with Token more.
To the extent that he even dresses like him, the fellow son of Michigan is so renowned for his similarities to Shady that USA Today once referred to him as an Eminem sound-alike in a headline. Not one to shy away from the effect that Shady had on him at a young age, NF openly told Idolator that he pretty much just listened to Eminem for 6 years during his formative years. However, if there's anything that we know about Shady, is that he's not one to take things like this lying down. And on The Ringer from his infamously combative project, Kamikaze, Mathers fired a shot in his direction as he spit, "I'd just be like everyone else in the industry, especially an effing recovery clone of me." In a similar vein as NF, another young rapper who's liberally pulled from Shady without making any apologies is Token.
Without making any apologies.
Having infamously turned down a meeting with M during his early career, the now 23-year-old MC has always suggested that he has the utmost respect for him. And when it appeared that Shady may have thrown a shot his way, he maintained that, "I'd be stupid to come at someone who I grew up listening to and I'm clearly influenced by."
In the song The Greatest off the Kamikaze album, M says, "No more shiners, already too much time. Token rappers, I hear you talking, I'm just too big to respond to it." Folks thought that he was talking about you. I'm glad you saying it's not a diss, because he been serving up careers lately.
I get sent those lyrics all the time, but the thing is, to me, my automatic thinking is like, what are you talking about? Like, I still feel like I'm the same kid who's listening to Eminem show. I never took it as a diss.
Did you know that on average, there are around 5 million car accidents?
Respectively though, because it's like, you know, if you get dissed by a nigga that you actually look up to, even if it wasn't a diss, he said it himself, he didn't see it as a diss, so it's just like, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like he responded to that pretty well.
Every year in the US, and a lot of those accidents.
Because you can't respond to something like that with even more aggression, because it's like, at the end of the day, it's still Eminem though. He can still, like, I'm not saying that, you know, he's still not capable of tapping into that bag and, like, you know, releasing that dog in him. I'm just saying, like, that's not what, you know, that's not what I was trying to say. That absolutely wasn't what I was trying to say.
Happened during the holiday season. Even worse, a lot of victims don't feel comfortable suing for damages because they're under the mistaken impression that they be suing the other driver, a regular human just like them. Injuries.
Like, what the fuck is this?
Unless you win. For more information, go to forthepeople.com/head. Let's get back to the video.
Like, get your bag.
Next,
but damn,
we have Logic.
I didn't even notice.
Over the
That was
years,
a pretty good
Logic has faced
transition.
allegations of literally stealing from the catalogs of other artists. But even when he's been reproached by the culture for taking cues from the likes of Kanye or J. Cole, there's no claim that has dogged his career quite like the narrative that he borrows from Kendrick Lamar. Sparked initially by the song Everybody's similarity in flow and beat to Kendrick's Alright, this perception is one that Logic has steadfastly denied, with the Maryland rapper even going as far to say that K-Dot's landmark major label debut actually went over his head at first.
I didn't like it because I wasn't into Kendrick Lamar doing all his weird voices. I didn't like that. I like J. Cole. I didn't like all these skits. I didn't like having to sit through 9 minutes of a song. I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I didn't like it. And then I loved it because I sat with it.
On other occasions, Logic suggested that any similarities between his music and that of K-Dot are a byproduct of them both operating at the top of their game. When you make great music, I think they compare you to great artists. You also have to understand that a lot of the musicians I was working with are from the TDE camp. It's like that musicality of having Terrace Martin there or Tay Beast from Digiphonics, you know? I think they're realizing this. Regardless of his many protests and different vantage points that he's put forth, it still doesn't change the fact that this notion.
Niggas be getting on Logic head, boy. What the fuck?
Has persisted to such an extent
10
that
minutes of meditation.
a video entitled Logic Stealing from Kendrick Lamar for 5 minutes straight has over 400,000 views on YouTube. Next, we have Play Forth. It still doesn't change the fact that this notion
we
has
got
persisted
Cardi.
to
Who is
such an
Cardi copying? Hold on. Who is Cardi a copy and paste of? Niggas be saying that the sound or flow, that original, like, you know, that baby boy shit. Niggas were saying Uno started that. Uno, the activist, allegedly.
Then that a video entitled Logic Stealing from Kendrick Lamar for 5 minutes straight has over 400,000 views on YouTube. Next, we have Playboy Cardi.
I never heard about that shit before. And honestly, I've listened to a few of Uno, the activist's songs. I don't see the comparison, to be honest with you. Like, there was one song that I heard, I think it was from Dante's Stream, where he sounded like, where the voice sounded, yeah. No, that wasn't him. That wasn't Uno. That was Fiji. I'm bugging. That was Fiji.
Specifically his kids, Mario Judah and Yeet. Given that he's the focal point of a cult fan base and youth movement, it should be entirely unsurprising
Yeet, definitely,
that some budding artists have been inspired by Playboy Cardi. With Die Lit and his self-titled project viewed as sacred texts, Mario Judah, who exploded onto the scene with his own metal-influenced delivery, was so proficient at parodying his hero's sound that he released music copying Cardi as a way to leverage the release of Whole Lotta Red.
Yo! Playboy Cardi! Where's Whole Lotta Red, bro? It's been 2 years, bro. If it's not here and delivered to the world before December 6th, I will drop it myself. Do you understand? This is not a game! This is not a drill! This is not a test! Drop whole lot of red or I will do it for you before December 6th!
When the record never showed up on the deadline, Mario stuck to his word and delivered a project which had all the hallmarks of Cardi's trademark style, gaining in both the annoyance and begrudging respect of Cardi's culture.
Deadass, the annoyance, bro. Because Dante listened to that shit on stream and he said, yo, this shit actually sounds like Cardi. Yeah. In my opinion, I wouldn't say he sounded like Cardi. More like he sounded like somebody trying to sound like Cardi, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying he sounded like Cardi, but he definitely sounded like somebody who was trying to sound like Cardi.
Cult-like fan base. Rather than being even marginally malicious, Mario's decision was based off his own personal affinity for Cardi. And it's a love that hasn't waned even as he became a star in his own right.
That as he comes out and drops, I'm just gonna be happy, bro. Even before I was like being an artist, bro, I was one of those kids in the comment section. Like when nobody knew me, like, bro, drop Whole Lot Red. I felt like now that when I had a platform, I could speak on it and try to get him to drop and like stick up for like the people who want it. You know?
Yet, while Mario may be the only man who has actively sought to recreate his sound, he certainly isn't his only descendant. Alongside Cardi's own protege of Ken Carson, recent breakout rapper Yeat hasn't exactly been shy about his influences. And according to academics, this has been crucial in building his
Ken
reputation
Carson, Destroy Lonely, Can. You know what I'm saying? All them niggas. Yeat, all them niggas Cardi's sons for a fact. For a fact. And niggas gonna be like, oh, niggas gonna try to like compare it. Uzi ain't got no sons. Who's out here trying to sound like Uzi? Don't do that. Don't do that. Because everybody said early Trippie Redd was biting off Uzi. Everybody said that early, and then he adapted into his own sound and stuff like that. But everybody said early Trippie Redd was on his Uzi shit. This Jace nigga, this underground Jace nigga. You feel me? People are saying that his sound is heavily influenced by Uzi. Stop fucking playing. Who else? Hold on. I have one more person. Fuck. It's gonna pop up. It's just not popping up on the top of my head right now.
Game.
3 industry artists literally looked at me and said, half of the reason why Yeat is popping is because people think that Cardi with him. People care about who Cardi with, who sounds like him. I've got just more appreciation for Cardi.
Next up, Cordae. When Cordae first came out of the gate, he billed himself as an emboldened and lyrically adept voice for a new generation who had had enough of old heads critiquing them. In his rebuttal to J. Cole's 1985, Cordae was positioned as not so much of a disciple of Cole, but as a worthy adversary. But after the initial buzz tapered off and Cordae set his sights on a prosperous career, he began to bear a startling resemblance to the work of Cole in terms of both his worldview and his beat selection. Yet, even as it became apparent, Cordae sought to shut down the narrative as fast as it could come up. Nah, I don't hear that, he retorted when asked if he was a baby J. Cole by Billboard. I get all types of comparisons. I feel like it's unfair to them, you know what I'm saying? They're 10, 20 years in this thing. I don't deserve those comparisons in my eyes. It's an honor, but also, I'm my own artist and my own person. While this was acknowledged to a degree on his debut album, The Lost Boy, the concept of him being a Cole clone who had yet to find his own artistic identity really began to pick up some steam on his sophomore record, From a Bird's Eye View.
Cordae on From a Bird's Eye View is making old music at 24 years old. Cole has been criticized for being one of the most sleepy, boring MCs that we have to offer in our generation. But Cole, at the very least, from a rapper's point of view, I would consider a pretty good to almost great rapper. That doesn't mean that all of his music is good. It just means that he has a skill set that can at least separate him from or put himself so far ahead of anyone that he's influencing that he would be the preference to anyone trying to adopt or copy his style. Every single track on doesn't mean that all of his music is good. It just means that he has
I want to see
him being a Cole record From a Bird's Eye View.
Cordae on From a Bird's Eye View is making old music at 24 years old. Cole has been criticized for being one of the most sleepy, boring MCs that we have to offer in our generation. But Cole, at the very least, from a rapper's point of view, I would consider a pretty good to almost great rapper. That doesn't mean that all of his music is good. It just means that he has a skill set that can at least separate him from or put himself so far ahead of anyone that he's influencing that he would be the preference to anyone trying to adopt or copy his style. Every single track on this Bird's Eye View album, I'm thinking J. Cole would sound good on this. These are damn near the come-up era level songs.
With Cordae recently admitting that he'd taken an artistic stumble on From a Bird's Eye View, which was admirable, only time will tell if he can pick himself back up and step out of Cole's shadow. Juice WRLD and Kid Laroi. The two flagship artists of Grade A Productions during their heyday, Juice WRLD and the Kid Laroi, may have come from
I see no comparisons between them two.
vastly different
If that's what they're gonna try to do, because I see no comparisons between Kid Laroi and Juice, and I've heard this comparison beat before.
backgrounds, but were evidently kindred spirits. In fact, for the Australian Laroi, it was Juice who encouraged him to head stateside in the first place.
I was a fan, so that was really another reason why I really, was with them so hard, because I just love Juice and what he was doing. So I learned a lot of stuff being around him and his process and how he records. I definitely did learn a lot.
Laroi has never shied away from the tutelage he received from Juice, but maintained that it was overstated at times.
So I just observe a lot of the stuff that he did. People always think that like he gave me like a rule book about how to record it, but no, it was really just me observing.
Having claimed that before we even met you were my favorite artist, in the promotional content which accompanied his tribute song Tell Me Why, it's clear that Laroi feels a responsibility to pay homage to his hero wherever possible, even after parting ways with Bibby in Grade A. Post Malone. When Post Malone first came out of the gate, his presence was one that was met with confusion.
I forgot who they
Initially
compared him
seeming
to.
more like a pastiche of hip-hop than an active participant in it, his early tracks such as White Iverson were heavily steeped in the melodic, auto-tune rich style of artists who have found a profitable middle ground between decadence and sadness. And as the hits kept coming, some believe that Post's vocal style and trap production had its roots in the gloriously toxic discography of Future. I love his music, but you can't tell me that that ain't Future, said T.I. of Posty's earlier output in 2019. There's some Future in there. He does it well, but let's call it what it is. Even as he was pejoratively labeled a fake Future by Charlamagne the God, Post has never steered away from the influence that Pluto had on him during the early stages of his career.
I've always been a big Future fan. He's Trap Jesus. He's got a lot of soul in his voice. A lot of haters don't really give him the credit that he deserves because auto-tune, but he's a fantastic vocalist.
Despite accusations that he's essentially derived much of his style from Future, the duo have since collaborated on numerous occasions, including Hollywood's Bleeding standout, Die For Me. In recent years, few people have evolved and garnered respect for their artistic growth quite like 21 Savage. Having navigated far away from where he was in the days of Issa the album, the UK-born, Atlanta-based artist has now surpassed everyone's expectations of him and has become a force in the culture in the process. Unsurprisingly, this has meant that some people have taken aspects of his approach and aligned them with their own, most notably Florida's Nardo Wick.
I see. I made this own comparison my damn self when I first started listening to Nardo. I'm like, nah, he gives me a lot of early 21 vibes. I'm not gonna hold you. He gives me a lot of early 21 Savage vibes.
Equipped with the same sort of eerily sedate delivery and a gritty upbringing to boot, many fans believe that he was culling directly from the 21 Savage playbook. But to Nardo's mind, it was not only completely unintended, but it was also just a matter of content. I understand it now a little bit, he told XXL, cause now I done sat down and really listened to him. We both dark, that's where people get it from. As for whether or not 21 had been aggravated by the similarities in style, any speculation that it may cause friction between the two was all but put to bed when the pair linked up for the Who Want the Smoke remix. Perhaps imitation is the greatest form of flattery, but without a new spin on an original style, continued imitation is perhaps one of the greatest crimes a rapper can commit. Rappers sounding like other rappers is bound to happen though, and there's plenty of space in the game to appreciate younger artists being heavily influenced by older artists and taking the flows and sounds of OGs that much further.
Sometimes, while riding high on the success of their show, or more...
This was the next video. Wait, hold on, I'm still recording. Okay, yeah, I don't even know when I'm really gonna stop recording this video, so it's really just gonna be